toast, a brownish square of taste, warm, soft. At first glance, a simple creature, but there's more to this breakfast classic than that which first meets the eye. Toast holds within its crusted perimeter a burning question. A question discussed by physicists, chemists, and psychics for decades, nay, centuries, nay, years. Why do bread fall like that? A complex question, to be sure. This scientific query has remained unanswered mainly due to the concentrated scientific ability necessary in determining its answer. And though I'd love to say to you, my enraptured audience, that I hold that ability within my grasp, that I succeeded where no man had before, I must relate to you that my scientific escapade was, resolutely, a failure. Let this presentation be a lesson, yes, but also a warning not to fly too close to the sun. Otherwise you may get burnt. And nobody likes burnt toast. Nobody. But before I communicate my failures, I must discuss first the actual specifics of my research. I wished to analyze 3 specific factors involved in toast falling. The effects of changing the height of which the bread falls from, of changing the toastiness of the bread, and of changing the condiments which are applied onto said bread. More specifically, butter, peanut butter, and jam. I began with a hypothesis, of course. My thinking was that height would have the greatest effect on the manner in which toast falls, as my belief is that the homogeneity in the originating heights of the majority of toast falling incidents is the major cause of them falling the way they always seem to do. Toastedness was also a considerable factor for a reason very succinctly summed up by famed ex-president George Lincoln. Floppy stuff go down different. Inspiring words from an inspiring individual. I predicted that the floppiness of untoasted bread may carry with it a predisposition to flip in the air, possibly making the typical condiment side down toast landings more unlikely. Changing the condiments was mostly for fun. Overall, I dropped 54 pieces of bread. As I had 3 factors, height, toastiness, and condiment, I ended up with 18 combinations of breadage. And to keep the bread sample at an appropriate size, I dropped each combination 3 times. In the pursuit of scientific renown I have made clear to you I will never receive, I filmed what I hope to be my success story. Let me show you why this is not the case through a numbered list of my failures, coupled with that footage of my experimentation itself. Firstly, my testing environment and I were, simply put, inept. As you can see, I'm not wearing the proper scientific attire, which is frankly embarrassing. For God's sake, I'm not even wearing a science hat. And I'm not wearing safety goggles or safety gloves either. My filthy hands are contaminating the bread. It's a disgrace. Perhaps this is not the greatest issue at hand, but I feel it is representative of my arrogant and lazy approach to dealing with this crucial science. Next, we can easily observe how unspecific and really ramshackle the way I measure the height at which I drop my breads is. During the experiment, I chose a random height and in subsequent drops just approximated where I had dropped it previously. Experiments must be precise and repeatable, and my droppings are, as is apparent, anything but. Third, and in my opinion most importantly, the method in which I dropped these toasts is, in a single word, unforgivable. In 2 words, very unforgivable. In 3, very, very unforgivable. To appropriately address the scientific question at hand, the way I dropped the breads needed to very closely emulate the droppaging done by any random law-abiding bread-dropping citizen. In my infinitely infantile hubris, I told myself, meh, tilting my hand to make the bread go down will probably be fine. How wrong I was. With every tilt, every inherently artificial droppage, the entire exercise was slowly distorting into a useless string of false science. Sure, I got results, here they are in all their informational horror, but as you can see, the amount of spread side downfalls is barely any different from the amount of spread side upfalls in almost every case. And with such a high uncertainty involved, my numbers mean very little. any conclusion I made would be a lie, an attempt to deceive you, my audience, and somehow scrounge a reasonable grade out of this monstrosity. That is not me. I pride myself on my honesty. All I can do, in good conscience now, is let you know that I tried. But this damned toast question conquered me. During the experiment itself, just the idea of having failed destroyed me. I went into a rage. But now that I have had time to think about it, I believe I've grown from this experience of failure. Learned of the honest truth that, just maybe, it doesn't matter what make the bread go down. I've learned that science is not an easy game to master. In fact, science always wins. I will continue down a path of science, and perhaps someday, many moons from now, I will revisit the case of the falling toast. Thank you.